So these burdens and guilts that we carry with us, there is a skillful way to be done with them, and there is an unskillful way. The unskillful way of being done with them is never done. That's just pretending that they're not there, pushing them, aside, pushing them down, hiding them, and that will not work. Even if it works temporarily, what it just produces is just, sometimes you hear people say, I live without regrets, and you're like, oh, actually, I hope you live with some regrets, because your actions are kind of impacting other people in a negative way, That's also a kind of laying aside. Obviously, the Buddha is not teaching us that kind of laying aside. That's an unskillful laying aside, right? I live without regrets. I never regret what I do. Maybe you should. This is skillful laying aside, And this practice of shakpa, often just translated as confession, there is another word also used sometimes is to shak. In this text that we are going to practice, recite next, the word is that to shak. To is to expose. In the unskillful way of laying aside, we don't expose. Meaning we all dislike suffering when it has turned up. So then we fear suffering. So we shove that away. We hide that away. Whereas causes of suffering, we would never expose. We don't want to see that. But if you don't expose, if you don't reveal for yourself, not expose other people's weakness, okay? In one of the Lojong lines, it says, in one of the Lojong precepts, in the 7-point Lojong, it says, don't expose other people's faults. Don't take advantage of other people's weaknesses. So here expose is exposing our own faults to ourselves in the presence of Buddha's bodhisattvas, in the presence of the three roots, right? We unburden. So this is a practice of unburdening in a skillful way, in a way that is clean, in a way that is beautiful, right? In a way that this is very good. This is like as difficult as it is, for some of us. I have my version, even though when people come to my house, they think, oh, it's so organized. Just don't open any of the closets, don't open any of the cabinetry, things will fly at you, right? And so it's kind of burdensome to go through all of this and to expose the mess and to clear them out. But each time when we do it in the right way, each time when we do it in a skillful way, we know how wonderful it is, how beautiful it is. So we expose and then we lay aside, to shak. So habits, especially habit patterns, we don't expose them and we don't do something to counteract them, they will keep having demands on us. So in the short term, we expose and we counteract. In the long term, we want to see deeply the nature of suffering. And then the mechanics of suffering. And then we become free from suffering. And that is through the practice of a practice such as Mahamudra. Of course, different lineages have their special way of doing this. They're all equally Buddha's compassion. But in the Kagyu, mainly we emphasize Mahamudra. Mahamudra way is to slowly show us, Also cannot be, we all wish, like immediately. Immediately, we cannot digest, But slowly to uncover for us the nature of suffering, the mechanics of suffering. Then, we can very naturally, very happily, no longer get caught up. But in the meanwhile, in the short term, we do have to apply antidotes. For example, as I said, I'm grateful for all of you who have turned up, because then, as I said, this is the heart gym. This is the gym for the heart, especially nowadays, recently, and probably for the foreseeable future. Unfortunately, the world is on fire. There's so much anger, unhappiness in the world, despite by another set of metrics, by another set of measurements, never before have human beings have so much material comfort and wealth. Overall, I'm not saying, I'm quite cognizant there are different parts of the world who still don't, but even that, overall, never before have human beings have such a level of physical comfort and physical wealth. And yet, see where we are now. I don't know if they have done, probably not, right? Surveys 1,000 years ago. Whatever press they have sent out surveys to ask, how happy are you? If they have done that 1,000 years ago, I suspect happiness level, people report higher than now. So the answer is clearly not merely in material well-being and material accessibility. But yet, everything is on fire. And chiefly our hearts are on fire. More than not, the skandhas are on fire. Now is the time to really take refuge in the Dharma, and to be inspired by the Buddha, and to be encouraged by the Sangha, to practice, to apply the Dharma. As I said in our first class, I'm now more explicitly, I admit, personally, I don't feel, Dharma practice can make the world change, as in the world out there change. Because if you really think about it, if once Dharma practice can change the world, the way we think of, the world changing, then no one is more qualified than Buddha Shakyamuni. If you're a Buddhist, you have to admit that, Or if you're a Buddhist who are very dedicated to, like, Guru Rinpoche, you can substitute. It's okay, Then you can say, no one is more qualified than Guru Rinpoche, But seemingly they have not done that, right? Here we are still here, on fire. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that they did not do amazing things and continue to do amazing things. Yesterday I mentioned about, or maybe, I don't know, about the thorn piercing Buddha Shakyamuni's foot. If you forgot what this is, go listen to the recordings. So please, somebody again, in our chat, again, we may have new people, provide the two resource. One, where to find the text that we're using. Two, where to find the playlist on YouTube of the daily classes. Jeff Holloway has been very good at quickly loading them before the day is over even. I'm very thankful to him and to everyone. So, like I said, I'm very grateful that you have turned up. I suppose, are grateful that I have started this, but very selfish why I started this. Again, you might think, oh, he's very disciplined. No, not at all. And the confession is, for a while now, since I've been traveling, going here, going there, going here, going there, I finally came back. So now I'm back here for a period of time. Then I started noticing, for a while now. I mean, I noticed a while, but then still stubborn, which is the alarm would ring in the morning, you turn it off. Because I don't have jobs the kind that some of you have, where a boss is waiting for you, or sometimes not a boss, like people who work for you are waiting for you. I don't have that kind of schedule. So, but then what I do is the alarm goes off. Then 2 hours later, because the alarm is the phone, I'm still stuck with the phone. And I see that happening every day, and I feel it, and I feel like it's like being whipped, and yet cannot stop the whipping. You have to watch, you cannot look away. That's my method, cannot look away. See the misery of that, and yet the addiction to that habit, And I say, it's okay, as long as I get a lot done later in the day, it's fine. But this is how, we reform these mental patterns that have impact in other areas, even though my schedule allows me. My schedule allows me. Yes, sure, no one's going to bark at me if I don't turn up somewhere at this time or that time, unless I have a meeting schedule, But now, actually the alarm is ringing at the same time, But because I have this at 8:30, and before 8:30 I have things I have to do, Now the alarm rings, it's like, okay, move. So you have to look into your own habits, You may not see how a particular habit, you may think, oh, it's fine. But it bleeds into other areas. That's the nature of habits. That's what we mean by looking at the mechanics of happiness and suffering. Looking at how the heart works, how the mind works, how habits are formed. So now, lay it aside. Lay aside. Page 1. At last, great Guru Vajra holder, and all you Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who reside in the 10 directions and 3 times, I, who am called Gonjo Yishi Dorje, supplicate you, turn your awakened attention to me. From beginningless samsaric time until this very moment, under the power of the afflictive emotions, attachment, aggression, confusion, pride, and jealousy, I have committed the 10 non-virtuous actions. Through the gates of my body, speech, and mind, I have committed the 5 heinous crimes, and the 5 secondary heinous crimes. I have transgressed the individual liberation vows, transgressed the precepts of bodhisattvas, and transgressed the samayas of the great vehicle. Secret mantra. I have been faithless and disrespectful towards the 3 jewels. I have been faithless and disrespectful towards my gurus and teachers. I have been faithless and disrespectful towards my father and mother. I have been faithless and disrespectful towards my companions in the pure spiritual life. I have abandoned the sublime Dharma and disparaged the noble Sangha. In short, I now lay aside all faults and transgressions whatsoever that have become obstacles to the higher realms and to liberation, and that have become the cause of samsara and the lower realms. Before you, the great Guru Vajra holder, and all you Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions and 3 times, I expose the faults, I confess them, I am contrite, I regret them, I will not conceal them, I will not hide them. Henceforth, I will restrain myself and abstain from them. If I do not expose and lay them aside, they will not be transformed. Therefore, by revealing and laying them aside, may they be cleared, may I be purified. Namo to the mandala of you, victorious Idam deities. Om, I expose and confess the broken samayas of the Vajra exalted body. I expose and confess the broken samayas of the Padma exalted speech. Hung, I expose and confess the broken samayas of the perfect exalted mind. Hri, I expose and lay aside the broken root and branch samayas. I expose and lay aside transgressions committed knowingly. I expose and lay aside transgressions committed unknowingly, the 3 non-virtues of the body, the 4 non-virtues of speech, the 3 non-virtues of the mind. I confess each of the 10 non-virtues individually. With faultless disciplined conduct, possessing completely pure disciplined conduct, and through the disciplined conduct that is free of arrogance, may the paramita of disciplined conduct be perfected. To glorious Vajrasattva I pay homage. Om Bhadra Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Bhasasata Dino Padita Dita Mimava Sudokaya Mimava Subhokaya Mimava Nurata Mimava Sabasiri Mimbaya Jasavakama Sujame Jadam Sarayam Guru Hong Bhagavan Sarvata Tagata Basama Mimunja Basibava Mahasamaya Sato Om Bhadra Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Bhasasata Dino Padita Dito me bawa su tokaya me bawa su bokaya me bawa nurato me bawa sabasede me baya jasa wakama su jame jidam sirang guru hong ha ho bhagavan savatata kata besama me muja basi baba maha samaya sado a bazara sato samaya manupalaya basasata teno bawa teta teno me bawa su tokaya me bawa su bokaya me bawa nurato me bawa Sarvasede me baya jasa wakama su jame jidam sirang guru hong ha ho bhagavan savatata kata besama me muja basi baba maha samaya sado a Bhadra Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Bhasarata Dena Padita Dida Mibhava Sudokaya Mibhava Subhokaya Mibhava Anurata Mibhava Sabaside Mibhaya Jasavakama Sujame Jadam Sriyam Guru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Samatata Kata Besama Mimuja Besibhava Mahasamaya Sato A Bhadra Sattva Samaya Anupalaya Bhasarata Dena Padita Dida Mibhava Sudokaya Mibhava Subhokaya Mibhava Anurata Mibhava Sabaside Mibhaya Sawakama Sujame Jidam Sriyam Guru Hong Hao Bhagavan Savatara Kata Besama Mimuja Besibhava Mahasamaya Sato A Bhasara Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Bhasara Padita Dedo me bawa sudokayo me bawa subokayo me bawa narado me bawa savasede me bawa jazava kamasu jame jidam zayam guru hong ha 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 ho bhagavan savadarangata pesama me mucha pese bawa mahasamaya sato a bhajra sato samaya manupalaya bhaja sata deno bawa deda dedo me bawa sudokayo me bawa subokayo me bawa narado me bawa savasede me bawa jazava kamasu jame jidam zayam guru hong ha 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 ho bhagavan savadarangata Bhadra mame muja bhadre bhava mahasamaya sato So you can think of this 100-syllable mantra as the great cleanser. During the time when you recite this, imagine and think, Guru Vajrasattva in the space above is showering down this nectar elixir, cleaning everything. And today we're going to look at the Mahamudra manuals section on Vajrasattva practice. So as I mentioned yesterday, maybe, in this one very succinct instruction in a text in Dakpa Jenga Drapak Junne's collected teachings, he says that Kyoba Rinpoche taught that you can think of this shakpa, this laying aside, as occurring on 4 levels. Because in a way you can say, right, the contamination occurs on 4 levels, and therefore the cleansing should also take place on 4 levels. So according to this set of instructions, the outer cleansing is to be done through what Kyoba Rinpoche calls the general laying aside, which is the first part of the text that we are using up until page 5. I mean, you can say page 6, 7, 8 is also the general shakpa, the general laying aside. But especially up to page 5 is the general laying aside. And then he says, do that 3 times. The outer laying aside. The inner laying aside, he says, recite the Vajrasattva mantra, which is what we did. Then he said the secret level of laying aside is to receive the samadhi empowerment. So using samadhi, using meditation to receive the 4 empowerments from your guru. And in that way renew your samaya. Then he says the suchness, so the ultimate solution to, so the ultimate laying aside, he says, that one, practice Mahamudra. Practice Mahamudra. So these are the 4 levels of laying aside. And we will see these 4 levels of laying aside, of clearing the kleshas in the Mahamudra manual as well. Okay, so now the Mahamudra manual. So the Mahamudra manual, so far we have covered the introduction on page 1, the verse of homage. So there yesterday I talked about this, especially the 4 lines of homage. There already, Choki Gyalpo, Kyabgon Choki Gyalpo, he was the 11th throne holder of Drivungkagya. Kyabgon Choki Gyalpo, who lived in the 14th century. Even in this opening verse, he already shows, he already gave a hint of what is this nature that we will be practicing or cultivating, which is the naturally luminous Dharma Dhatu that is non-dual with the unceasing adventitious display of thoughts. So there, yeah. So anyway, then we also covered the instructions on page 2, page 3. Page 3 is about how you should sit. So sit on a comfortable seat cushion in the Vajra posture. If you can, if you cannot, the key point there is to sit in a way that is stable, in a way that you don't have to move and fidget a lot, and try to resist that. Straighten your spine, place your 2 hands in a gesture of meditative equipoise, like this, below navel. And gaze at the tip of your nose, gaze, not stare. Likely let your sight kind of go down. Don't close your eyes, actually. You should leave them open but relaxed, and the gaze is towards the tip of the nose, down to the ground. Let the tongue lightly touch the upper palate. Leave teeth and lips in their natural position. Then let breath flow comfortably. In the quote that begins on page 3, it says, having relaxed the exhalation and inhalation of breath, little by little, free from effort, the breath exhales and inhales just as it is. Thus, when one is seated, well seated, in this way, this is the Bodhisattva's posture. So now you don't necessarily need to look at the manual, because I'm going to do the guidance from the manual. So first, let body settle into this most optimal way of settling the body if we want to train the mind, train the heart. Then you should contemplate the difficulty of obtaining the freedoms and advantages, impermanence and death, karmic cause and effect, and the faults of samsara. And this set of 4 are the 4 thoughts that turn the mind. At least in the 14th century, they are not kind of arranged into 4 sections, but they are mentioned as points that you should check in with, so to say, whenever you begin practice. From the Paramahansa Sutra, the Buddha said, friends, to become a human is rare. A perfect state of leisure is scarce. Liberation from samsara is even rarer. Since it is so, do not waste your efforts. Later you will surely be filled with regret. Then from the Sutra of Auspicious Signs, the Buddha said, who knows if death will come as soon as tomorrow? Therefore, you must apply yourself right now, on this very day. With that great commander, Lord of Death, you have no treaty of friendship. Therefore, to practice the Dharma and to be liberated from the sufferings of samsara, go for refuge in the three jewels. Recognizing the importance of laying aside all the unskillful actions of body, speech, and mind, and the effects of the unskillful actions of body, speech, and mind from the past, by relying on the four powers, the powers of regret. So the act of exposing, of not hiding, of no longer concealing, but to bring into light unskillful actions that we habitually get caught up in, that is what leads to this first power, the power of regret. Then from there we rely on the power of refuge or reliance, which is the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas now embodied in the form of Guru Vajrasattva. We then cultivate the remedy, which is this meditation, this cleansing meditation of Vajrasattva. And finally, the fourth power is the power of resolve, which is we have to make stronger resolve to be better at not getting caught again and again and again and again by these unhealthy, unskillful behavior and habits. So the power of regret is related to the exposing, and the power of resolve is the laying aside. Put aside, put it down, don't carry it anymore. Now instantaneously think of yourself appearing in the form of a idam, whatever the idam is, Avalokiteshvara or Tara or whatever it is that you can most comfortably arise as a way to manifest the Buddha nature. You appear in the form of idam. Above your head on the full moon disk, a cushion, round, white in color, a Hung and Vajra instantly transform into Bhagavan Vajrasattva. So this is a white Vajra with a Hung at the center. This instantly transform into Bhagavan Vajrasattva. His exalted body is white like the peak of a snow mountain touched by the rays of the sun. So it's a fair complexion, but radiating like the rays of the sun. His legs are crossed. With his two hands, the right holds a vajra at his heart, and the left holds a bell resting on his hip. He is adorned with various jewel ornaments, the ornaments of a Sambhogakaya, the crown, earrings, short necklace, long necklace, armlets, bracelets, anklets, dress in silk. He is seated in a relaxed way so that his right foot is slightly extended. At his heart center in the middle of a moon disk is a Hung surrounded by the 100-syllable mantra. From this Hung syllable, light rays emanate. They emanate to clear the obscurations of sentient beings. Then this light also goes and invokes the hearts of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, causing streams of nectar, streams of elixir to pour forth from their hearts that dissolve into you and into the hung in the center of your heart. And from there, now a stream of elixir descends. And this hung in the heart of Vajrasattva, Guru Vajrasattva, who is above your head. And then the elixir starts to flow from there and fills Guru Vajrasattva's body completely until the excess elixir flows down from his right big toe, forming a powerful waterfall that enters the crown of your head, once this waterfall of elixir enters you through the opening on top of your head, all the collections of misdeeds, obscurations, and transgressions from beginningless samsaric lifetimes are flushed out, washed away, like dirt carried away by water, and exit from the lower orifices of your body. The stream of elixir fills you from below, upwards, swirling upwards as well, filling completely your entire body. Then focusing on the hung syllable surrounded by the 100 syllables at the heart of Guru Vajrasattva, you recite the 100 syllable mantra. As you recite, this elixir, this stream, this waterfall of elixir becomes stronger and stronger, continuously flushing out all the bones, flesh, all the solid physical body, subject to decay, subject to disease, all of that is flushed out, so that you become a body of light in the form of your idam. If it is easier, your idam can also be Vajrasattva. Then Guru as Vajrasattva above your head. Guru Vajrasattva above your head can be looking in your direction or looking in the same direction as you, outwards. Mainly from his right toe, the stream of elixir flows without interruption, without obstruction, onto you, cleansing and washing the outside and inside. Om Vajra Sattva Samaya Anupalaya Vajra Sattva Tenopa Tishta Dedo Membava Suto Kayo Membava Supo Kayo Membava Anurato Membava Sarva Siddhim Mempreyacha Sarva Karma Sucha Me Chitam Shreya Guru Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tata Gata Bajra Mame Muncha Bajre Bhava Maha Samaya Sato Bajra Sattva Samayan Anubalaya Bajra Sattva Tenopa Tishta Dedo Membawa Suto Kayo Membawa Supo Kayo Membawa Anurato Membawa Sarva Siddhi Mempreyacha Sarva Karma Sucha Me Chitam Shreya Guru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tata Gata Bajra Mame Muncha Bajra Bhava Maha Samaya Sato Bajra Sattva Samayan Anubalaya Vajra Sattva Denoba Tishta Dedo Membawa Suto Kayo Membawa Supo Kayo Membawa Anurato Membawa Sarva Siddhi Mempreyacha Sarva Karma Sucha Me Chitam Shreya Guru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tata Gata Bajra Mame Muncha Bajre Bhava Maha Samaya Sato Bajra Sattva Samaya Anubalaya Bajra Sattva Denoba Tishta Dedo Membava Suto Kayo Membawa Supo Kayo Membawa Anurato Membawa Sarva Siddhi Mempreyacha Sarva Karma Sucha Me Chitam Shreya Guru Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tata Gata Bajra Mame Muncha Bajra Bhava Maha Samaya Sato Bajra Sattva Samaya Anupalaya Bajra Sattva Denoba Tishta Dedo Membawa Suto Kayo Membawa Supo Kayo Membawa Anurato Membawa Sarva Siddhi Mempreyacha Sarva Karma Sucha Me Chitam Sheyam Guru Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Sarva Tata Gata Bajra Mame Muncha Bajra Bhava Maha Samaya Sato Bajra Sattva Samaya Anupalaya Bajra Sattva Tenopa Tishta Dedo Membava Suto Kayo Membava Supo Kayo Membava Anurato Membava Sarva Siddhi Mempreyacha Sarva Karma Sucha Me Chitam Shreya Guru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tata Gata Bajra Mame Muncha Bajre Bhava Maha Samaya Sato Bajra Sattva Samaya Anupalaya Bajra Sattva Tenopa Tishta Dedo Membava Suto Kayo Membava Supo Kayo Membava Anurato Membava Sarva Siddhi Mempreyacha Sarva Karma Sucha Me Chetam Shreya Guru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tata Gata Bajra Mame Muncha Bajre Bhava Maha Samaya Sato At the end of the session, we now pray together. So now we are at the top of page 8. Addressing Guru Vajrasattva, we say the following. I am ignorant and bewildered. I have transgressed and broken my samayas. O Guru Protector, grant me refuge. Then we think, Guru Vajrasattva hearing our request, our prayer, smiles and gives his assent. And you should think that he responds by saying, O child of the family, your broken samayas, negativities, and obscurations are now cleared. Then feel Guru Vajrasattva dissolving into you, becoming inseparable from your own body, speech, and mind. You then rest in meditative equipoise, meaning let the mind settle evenly. without moving, without altering. Just let the mind separate, settle evenly on the meaning of union of appearance and emptiness. And this is another very subtle instruction, very subtle pointing to the nature of reality. But don't think too much about it. So as you rest here in equipoise, sometimes, a more explicit thought will turn up, or an image will turn up. When that happens, immediately you recognize, you say, appearance. This is an appearance. Then the moment you say appearance to yourself, whatever understanding you have about emptiness should also be introduced. Then union of appearance and emptiness. Or as the Heart Sutra say, form is emptiness, emptiness, form, and then release. So at the beginning, it does take some effort, that you have to do some labeling and say appearance. Even sound is a type of appearance. Smell is a type of appearance. Sensation is a type of appearance. So then you immediately label appearance. And then you immediately understand that appearance is empty of essence. And that is appearance and emptiness, inseparable, and rest again. So that is the very brief but very complete already Vajrasattva practice for clearing the obscurations that are most immediately, especially. Of course, it can, if you practice well, it can clear all obscurations, but particularly the obscurations that stand in the way of us practicing and being consistent with the practice at hand, which is this Mahamudra manual that we are working with. So especially, if you didn't join us on Monday and Tuesday, I think there's some helpful kind of background understanding of this practice manual, and then particularly how we are going to practice this practice manual. So as I said, they think of this as the daily, heart gym, going to the gym. So here are all our, gym partners. So we will keep our each other accountable. It's necessary because we are not yet so consistent, not yet so reliable. In the end, that consistency and that reliability is for ourselves. Then when we become consistent and reliable, again, this quality of consistency and reliability has a very specific reference here. But it bleeds into other areas of our lives. Just like I said, even though I don't have the kind of schedule that some of you have, then I think, I can just kind of take it easy. I'm not really a morning person, things like that. But the thing is, if only, right, things don't bleed into other areas. But that's not how it is. Habits that are formed over here become habits over here, over here, over here, over here, over here. Before long, you're overwhelmed. So we have to examine. Yeah. So, like I suggested on Monday, kind of jokingly, but I'm not completely joking. Find someone, in this group that you kind of feel good about and trust, and and meaning you feel good about and trust enough to be vulnerable. And that's so important to be able to do that. And to say to that person, hey, if you don't see me a few days, can you please check in and remind me, like I should be consistent. And if you are in such a situation where, and I see there's at least one case where you can convince someone else in your space to join you. Rocio is so fortunate to have mom, willing to join the heart gym. Oh, that's even better. And not physically in the same space. I know John and mom in one town away, also in the heart gym. So find ways to help yourself, to help each other. So in your local area, also, even if it is not in the same house, if you're in the same town, in the same city, or in some cases, just same country, there is something energetically, if you connect with someone else or invite someone else and say, hey, why don't you join this daily practice? And let's help each other to become consistent. Yeah? This practice, Fivefold Mahamudra, is for enlightenment. Too often, I think, what we think of as practice in Tibetan Buddhism, Vajrayana Buddhism, too often we are all just kind of stuck in that level of like, for healing, medicine Buddha, for this, or that, this, or that, this, or that. Then we lip service say, because we need these conditions to get enlightened. When in fact all we're doing is just trying to make samsara stink less. To make samsara into something that is not possible. So then we end up superficially having the look of a Dharma practitioner, when in fact all we're doing is trying to make samsaric life more successful. So how many people, want to practice for enlightenment? Very few, actually. At most, some people want to practice so that I can become a healer. I can heal people. I can pray for people. I can do rituals for people. The Dharma can really help you. And when it truly helps you, it will make an impact in the people around you. That I have no doubts. More than that, fanciful magic thinking. Again, who has perfected the power of prayers? Buddha Shakyamuni has. Kyoba Jigten Simgen has. Guru Rinpoche has. Kuan Yin has. Even the Virgin Mary has. Jesus has, perfected the power of prayers, meaning wishing good, wishing well, wishing safety, wishing protection for all beings without exception. No doubt in my mind, even like Jesus, Mary, if they are who they say they are, no doubt they have perfected that. But here we are. And to think, I can do this for others in that literal way, that's just fanciful thinking, magic thinking. But the Dharma, to really change us, to really work on our pleasures, absolutely no doubt. The Dharma bringing us, making us the Buddhas that we are, no question. And when that happens, and the effect that it can have for people around us, for not just people, even environment around us, no doubt. So like when you go to some holy place, where people say it's holy, it's sacred, you can feel the power of the place. And somebody asked Kyoba Rinpoche in one of these questions and answers, because Kyoba Rinpoche, right, emphasizes so much that the change is inside, is inside. And so even in his time, he has to battle, so to say. He has to counteract these people who think, practice will change things, this and that. He mostly kind of emphasizes inside is the change where it most importantly needs to happen. So then someone asked a question and said, what about these holy places? Is it just inside, or is the blessing also outside? And they're very interesting. He said, it is inside. It is also outside. Why? He says, when the great practitioner is in a particular place, when she really changes what's inside, it will affect the outside. And so he says, these holy places where Buddha Shakyamuni practiced, where the Mahasiddhas practice, where great bodhisattvas have practiced, it actually does change that area. And so that years later, when people come, they can still feel the blessing. So the inside can affect the outside. So it's both inside and outside. But if the change don't happen inside, then the outside is superficial. And all of this is pointing in the direction of Mahamudra. So the second preliminary in this manual is the perfecting of the accumulations through mandala offering. So now on page 9, the second part, perfecting the accumulations through mandala offering, has two aspects, meaning two parts to it: the mandala of accomplishment and the mandala of offering. The mandala of accomplishment is referring to the objects of offering, meaning the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, the three roots, the three jewels. That is the mandala of accomplishment, meaning those who have accomplished. We first establish their presence in the form of a mandala. And then there is the mandala that we offer. That's the second part. So these are the two parts. For the first, the mandala of accomplishments, the best mandala is made of precious materials. Middling ones are of earth or wood. If it is made of precious materials, it is suitable to offer a mandala of 4-finger widths or larger. So even just this small, is saying 4-finger width. It's fine if it is from a precious material. But if it is of earth or wood, it is not suitable to offer one smaller than a cubit. But most of us don't use wood or mud, so it's okay. Gilbert Rinpoche actually talked about this. He said when he was in Echung cave, Echung, where he did 7 years of retreat, when he was practicing, whenever he was in that cave in retreat and he offered mandala, he said that he wasn't able to get a proper, mandala plate like what we have today. And so he resorted to, there was some kind of a stone, a slab of stone in or around his cave, and he had no choice. He had to use that for his mandala offering. He said, and then how that result manifested was that later, when he built his community, he gathered his community in Drigongtil. Yeah. As a result of that, he says, Drigongtil monastery is hanging on the ledge of a cliff. Meaning, the mandala he used was very narrow. So then the Pure Land, his Dharma activity home base, the main building is also like hanging off this ledge. He said that is the direct relationship. And so he said to his disciples, try to get a proper mandala and don't end up with a monastery later on, that is built on the ledge, on the cliff. Some of you have been to Drigongtil. If you have not, at least you can see photos, It's like any time it's going to fall off. Whatever the mandala is, its material and form must be excellent. So excellent how? Excellent in your context. Don't think, I don't have access to this traditional fancy mandala, then, I'm disadvantaged. But to the best of your ability, given your circumstance. Don't say, I don't want to spend, or, If you are consistently not spending money, buying stuff, that's fine. But you cannot Dharma, I'm not going to spend. I should be frugal. And then, you're buying, nice handbags, big TV, new phone. Then it will not work, It says, wipe it clean so that it is free from stains, blemishes, and so forth. Just as the mandala is free from dust, think that the karmic, emotional, and cognitive obscurations, these are the 3 types of obscurations. Karmic, emotive, and cognitive obscurations of all sentient beings are cleared. So as you are cleaning mandala, the accomplishment mandala, and the offering mandala, as you're cleaning the mandala, you think, by this cleaning, may the karmic obscurations, the emotive obscurations, the cognitive obscurations of me and all beings be cleaned. then you say, this is still the accomplishment mandala. Om Bhadra Bhumi Ahong, which is the bhumi, the ground, is stabilized now. Then it says on page 10, in its center, place one pao, meaning one pao of grains. For this accomplishment mandala, and also even for offering mandala, generally you moisten the pile of grains a little bit. There's a technical reason for that. That way, that pile won't be like dry grains. The minute you put on the surface, it's going blah, 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 fall all over the place. If it's slightly moist, right, rice has this stickiness to it. It will stay. So one pile in the center, and you think this is Guru Vajradhara, embodiment of all Buddhas. Then in front of that pile is the Idam deities. And to the right of that pile is Buddha jewel, behind Dharma jewel, on this side Sangha jewel. And in this way you establish the accomplishment mandala, then you put in front of you slightly higher. Then that is the accomplishment mandala. Yeah? And then tomorrow we will do the offering mandala. So if you want to prepare for tomorrow, for the practice, to have an accomplishment mandala. So those of you who don't have this traditional mandala plate, get 2 plates. Clean them nicely. And if you're going to be using this for a while, these 2 plates, dedicate to this. Don't take it to eat your fried rice again, Unless in your whole house there's only 2 plates, then you can practice like Milarepa, no choice, you only have 2 plates, If you want, you can do this. So rice, moisten with a little bit of water. If your water, you can put some saffron, very nice. If not, some essential oil, also very auspicious. And then 1 pao in the middle, then 1, 2, 3, 4. You establish that in front. And then you also need some rice or barley. And you can mix in some semi-precious stones. I don't know why this started. People started using stones, to offer mandala. No, that's not good. You add a little bit of semi-precious stones, but mostly rice grains, barley grains, grains that you eat. So quinoa, corn. And add a little bit of semi-precious stones if you want. Add a little bit of medicinal herbs if you want. But mostly rice or barley, some kind of grain. So today we will stop here. We have already gone over beyond 9:45. Let's do dedication. So let's go back to the opening recitation text. And on my version, it's on page 31. Some of you may have a version that is around 30 or 32. You just move around and you'll find it. It's the dedication that starts with by the virtues collected. By the virtues collected in the 3 times by me and the entirety of samsara and nirvana, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain the unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious Bodhi. By the blessings of the truth of the Kagyu Gurus, the excellent 3 Idams, Dakinis, and Dharmapalas, may the spiritual and temporal places of the tradition of the 2nd Nagarjuna flourish, whatever harmful Discord and faults may arise, may they be pacified, and may there be abundant prosperity and happiness. May the teachings of the great Drikungpa Ranashiri, the all-knowing Dharma Lord, Master of interdependence, continue to increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara by the power of the virtues collected in accordance with the teachings of the pure realizations of the unmistaken teacher. May the teachings of Ratnashri of Drigung, protector on the 10th Bhumi, flourish perpetually. Again, quick reminder, especially the Mahamudra manual text. If you print, know that I will still be making changes. The translation is not that smooth yet, but enough for us to use it. I also ask that you do not circulate that because it's not yet. It's far from, not that far, but not quite yet, And also, one thing I said in our first class, if you want to read ahead, up to around page 45 is okay. Beyond page 45, no, there's nothing scary there. They are Mahamudra practice instructions that if you too early go look, then you just have a lot of ideas up in your head and you are not really primed yet to really practice. Then it's not very helpful. I know you are curious, so now you're like, oh, I really want to look. It's okay to look. It's not breaking samaya or anything, so don't have scary things like that. It's okay to look. I'm just saying, but don't think too much about what you're reading from 45 onwards. Prior to that, you want to read more carefully. You want to think. It's okay. But 45 onwards, is the natural state Mahamudra practice out of the Fivefold. That one just has to be heard in a different way. And don't rob yourself of the opportunity of hearing it in a way that we are all together very prepared, and that will have a much greater effect and blessing. So anyway, have a good day, and see all of you tomorrow. Tata.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Gracias.